143 days later after Season 2, and we are back for Season 3. The wait's finally over as the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge returns for the first of 8 rounds that take place over between now in July and February of 2022. We've got a new journey, a new set of champions for both drivers and teams to crown. 8 different circuits, 5 countries, 3 continents, 9 of the biggest brands associated with GT3 racing. And it's 480 minutes over across the whole season. A 60-minute race format that has been tried, tested, and remains. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 1 of the Season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Alex Goldschmidt and David Christie back with you once again. And of course, my good friend Mr. Christie is the big yin, if you want to make a reference to Billy Connolly here, of sim racing commentary. David, good evening. We're back. We're bigger, we're brasher, we're bolder. And what's more, as we discussed in the preview show this past Friday, we're back with Assetto Corsa Competizione. Oh, it's good, isn't it, mate?
It's good to be back. Bigger, brash and bolder, and that's just me for a start. What can I say? Look, it's fantastic to be back here. This is where I first came across eTeam BRIT, was on Assetto Corsa Competizione, racing side by side with the likes of Bobby Trundley. And for me, this is where you're going to see some of the best racing, hands down, and this season definitely doesn't disappoint. Obviously, let's talk about the new entry list, the new season calendar, Alex, but I mean, tonight, starting things here at Kyalami is, I think, the best possible way to get things started.
Yep, opened back in 1961, lost the South African Grand Prix due to the apartheid movement back in the mid-1980s. It's 4.529 kilometers in length. It's known for its roller coaster ride elevation changes. You know, you've got high-speed corners, commitment requiring technical sections. And also, one of the other things that we talked about, success ballast comes into play. As of round 2 next time out, oh, it's going to be an absolute doozy. It's going to make things a bit more towards real life. Some of our drivers in this championship are real life racers, and they will have experience with that. And effectively, let's have a look at some of the prizes. There is no Pro-Am anymore. It is a straight out dogfight. The champion will win, courtesy of the partners at TW Steel, a VS11 watch worth £250. V-Box have jumped on board with a sim software pack to give you that fine-tuning data logging that you need for the runner-up. Every single race winner will win a bottle of Copperfield London Dry Gin worth to the value of £42 thanks to the Surrey Copper Gin Distillery. Also, for the fastest lap of each race, we have a pair of eTeam BRIT IMB racewear gloves to give away to the driver that sets the fastest lap in the race. And also, we just had a little bit of breaking news thrown our way. This season, we will also have 2 copies of Codemasters F1 2021 game to give away, and that features the new in-game storyline known as Breaking Point. And hopefully we'll have more prizes to come here at the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. But I think without further ado, let's see how you tame the roller coaster ride here in Kyalami. Kyalami, in Zulu known as my home. It's a fantastic circuit, so let's go on a roller coaster ride for the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge hot lap on board the Aston Martin. Down through the kink, into the left here at Crowthorns from 5th, all the way down the gearbox into 1st before you start climbing up the circuit. Through 3 and 4, the Jux K sweep. And then in the approach to Barbecue, the 90 left at turn 5, 2nd gear, let the car run wide, accelerate. Put the pedal to the metal, up to 4th gear, into the right-hander at turn 6, through Sunset, a little bit of commitment, a little bit of a lift, downshifting to 3rd. Run the car wide to the left before pulling it back to the right. On the approach to turn 7 at Clubhouse. And now the roller coaster ride of the Kyalami circuit, 4.529 kilometers, gets underway now through the S's. Turn 8, 9, up the hill once again. On the approach to turn 10, the tight left-hander at Loikop. You can see in the top right the outside of how the car's handling. Through 11, down into the pits of the mine shaft, up to 4th. Through into the left-hander and shifting up to 5th gear at full commitment. down into the Crocodiles. Tight left-hander taken at first gear. A little bit of curb, run the car wide. Through into 14. Before the right-hand sweep here at Cheetah. Don't hit too much curb on the inside because it can unsettle the back end. 16th and final corner, Ingwe tight on the apex, let the car drift wide and bury the throttle. And that is a hot lap here at Kyalami for round 1. The battle lines now being drawn because qualifying for the first of 8 rounds this season here at the Kyalami Grand Prix circuit is now heading into the final 20 or so minutes. So let's see if we can head trackside, because it looks like things are getting rather spicy because the hot laps are coming in, and at the moment it's an Aston Martin 1-2. And it is the SimSport Solutions pairing, Dean Riley and Rich Smith, leading the way. And David, already they're in the high 1-minute 40s.
Yeah, that's some fast pace already being set by the likes of Dean Riley and the number 76 there of Rich Smith, as you said. Also noticing that one of my early picks, Regan Mitchell, up there 4th place there, just 0.4 of a second. But again, this is something that we've not really seen through some of the previous seasons, where we've got the top 10 split by about a second, and even then you've got top 20, Alex, split by just about 2 seconds. So I did say at the start, I think we're going to see one of the closest seasons of racing here. Assetto Corsa Competizione, of course, a very mature sim now. It's come on a long time in the, what's that, about 2 years that it's had now. A fantastic platform. And yeah, this is going to get very spicy. But how often do we see this? We see 5 minutes into qualifying, some fast times. It's all going to kick off in the next 10 minutes, mark my words.
Indeed, we've got a few new faces, Dominic Alvarez and Goldschmidt, both hailing from my second home, Germany, of course. They're currently 3rd and 8th at the moment. Well, make that 9th for Goldschmidt, because Sean Campbell, who's just replaced Charlie Perra di Fario Corsa, which is the sister team to Cadan Casual Apex. They are both teams. Now, this is an inspired choice as well. They've gone with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo, 5.2 litre, naturally aspirated V10, and that's going to literally scream its way around the track. If you are watching, we do have to say good evening to the likes of Cameron Fife, Adam Misalovic and Mark Neutelings. So good evening, guys. They'll be, I know exactly who they'll be cheering on, but look at how hard Sean Campbell is pushing. That just goes to show how fast you can get things going, and that was going through Clubhouse, and he actually runs the right rear wheel onto the grass.
Yeah, he's really pushing hard, and while it does look spectacular, it's debatable whether it actually does lead to any improvements. Of course, Sean just coming through the tail end of the circuit just now, as we see Charlie Crossland for Team Fordzilla coming across line. Great lap there up at the 6th place, but Bobby Trundley just behind, jumping and taking that place back as well. So I think it's safe to say Bobby is going to be back to his usual hijinks this season. It's never a dull moment, Alex, when he's around, is it?
No, never a dull moment with Bobby Trundley, racing with Team BRIT in the alongside Aaron Morgan in the BRIT Car Endurance Series. And Mark Neuslings, yes, unfortunately, no one went with the Bentley. We did have a team that did decide to withdraw, but Bobby Trundley always brings the fireworks. Also, good to see Red Shell Racing. They've got a 2-car team this time. They made their debut in the Le Mans one-off, a one-off at the Le Mans on race, which was double points for season 1. Stuart Ross French, who said to me recently when I messaged him on Facebook, he said, well, I'm probably not so much of an Aussie. Well, he is our resident Antipodean. He is now. He was actually cheering England in the Euro 2020 Championship. Unfortunately, David, I'm afraid to say. However, the main thing is that he's joined by Tim Lane, both running in the Aston Martins. There has been some grid parity introduced. No more than 3 teams can run the same car. So we do have quite a full complements. We do have the likes of Red Shell Racing, eTeam BRIT, Aston Martin, and also SimSport Solutions. And also we have the legend from Munich, the M6 GT3, which is now being replaced by the M4 GT3. We've got Darren Cook and Jamie Falvey from Scruffy Bear Motorsport. That's a pretty striking livery, wouldn't you say there, David?
It certainly looks the part, but we know Darren Cook in real life is not exactly a shy, retiring wallflower, so that is a very appropriate livery on that car. Look, I've got a big love for the BMW. It's a glorious, aggressive looking machine. It just looks the part. It's just a shame that it doesn't usually have the performance to match, but we have seen in various different championships and competitions, the BMW can be the dark horse. And we'll have to see whether him and Jamie Fadley can, bring that to the fruition today. I mean, 15 minutes left to go. They leave themselves in a very difficult position outside the top 20. But given as we've just seen there, the ability for Kyalami to induce absolute chaos at a moment's notice, it definitely is all up for grabs. And don't discount anyone, even if they are outside the top 10. This really could be anyone's right now. Great to see as well, Dean Riley smashing in those times. Another sub 141 time there, 140.653. That was set about 2 laps ago there. We didn't get a chance to see that, but Rich Smith jumping up into second place there for SimSport Racing Rouge. So, cracking times going on already.
Well, we do have 2 Cavallino Rampantes, 2 of Ferrari's finest, and we have the SimSport Racing pairing of Kieran Vidago, as Rich Smith is currently in second, but Kieran Vidago and Regan Mitchell. Mitchell has gone P3. Actually, caught up with Dean Riley when I was up at Oldham Park before I headed over to where I'm currently at the moment, which is well, David's in northern Scotland. I'm currently 10 kilometres outside Circuit de la Sarthe. Yep, I'm actually in Le Mans, broadcasting from my hotel room. Luke Pound, the one unbanded as he's known between the brethren at Team BRIT. This is actually due to how he drives. He only actually drives and steers with one hand. But he's partnering Bobby Trundley. Not a bad showing from Luke in the initial phases. Just 20th position. 2.187 seconds. Hamish Eisner, one of the drivers in the number 30 in one of the 4 Lamborghinis we've got on the grid, running at the top 19. But at the moment, good to see Will Dendy. He's partnered with Nick Foster in this championship. So no Matt Richards, no Rocket SimSport. What that means, David, the floodgates are going to open now, and we will crown new champions in February of next year.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. It's going to be really, really enjoyable. We've got about 12 and a half minutes left to go in qualifying here, as we see Michael Tyler from eTeam BRIT in the Aston Martin. Now, you were touching on Luke Pound there, and it's kind of one of the things that I really love. Obviously, you and I, Alex, work on various different championships here in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and the one thing that I love about Team BRIT and eTeam BRIT is that ethos of that it doesn't matter whatever your level of physical or mental ability. It doesn't matter. All that matters right now, tonight, here, is that we are all, it's 28 petrol heads, 28 sim racing petrol heads taking part, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, and two excited petrol heads in the virtual commentary box, so to speak, as well. One that actually races in real life, another one that just likes hopping on the odd occasional sim, as I did actually take a look at the version 2.0 of Simply Racing Milton Keynes. A big thank you also to our new broadcasting partners, SimSport Solutions, who have come on board for Season 3. There is Regan Mitchell. Very, very fast individual. Both him and Kieran Vidago are going to be a force to be reckoned with. But at the moment, Dean Riley leads qualifying with just under 11 and a half minutes to go, followed by teammate Rich Smith. Charlie Crossland returns for Season 3 in the number 10 Mercedes, and he is less than half a second behind. Regan Mitchell makes his way down through Mineshaft.
Pole position for Charlie Crossland, 140.569. That came out of absolutely nowhere then.
Well, this 18-year-old is a sensation. He's been very much rather rapid, especially on this platform. And here is no exception at this particular circuit. So Kyalami, it is a roller coaster ride. We are going through one in the first of 8 rounds. Good evening to Chris Pinchbeck is a new entry. He's actually SimSport Racing B. He's running in the non-Evo Mercedes, and his mum's just popped up. Jean, good evening, Jean. Hope you're keeping well. Jack Ashton cheering on Charlie Crossland. There's Dominic Alvarez. So we do have an Aussie. Well, we have a couple of Aussies in the form of Nick Foster and also Stuart Ross French, but we welcome 2 German drivers, Dominic Alvarez being one of them, Goldschmidt being the other. Dominic Alvarez running in the 510, teammates with Charlie Crossland. Goldschmidt is partnered by David Simon, who is currently rounding out the top 13. Top 15 rounded out by our outgoing AM champion from last year, Cam Sport Fires, Ben Brown, who has actually got a new teammate. It was going to be Christian Kelly. It is now going to be in many respects. It's we've had a few changes in terms of it. It's going to be Chris Wilson, and Sean Campbell has replaced Charlie Purr at Divario Corsa. So Will Denny's kept himself very, very well. But you know what? I was speaking with Bobby Trunley briefly, just wishing him and a few others just a bit of good luck before we went live, and he just said, I've got the biggest boat out there, was his words to me. And,
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the thing is that let's be completely honest with you. The rear haunches on the Nissan GTR Nismo aren't exactly small, are they?
It's not exactly the pinnacle of sleekness like we see in the Aston Martin or the Mercedes. I love the Nissan GTR just purely for how it looks in someone's rear view mirrors. There is nothing more frightening than seeing that big bad monster in your rear view mirrors, because you're just like, yeah, I better move over. I'm gonna die here.
Yeah, it's sort of like, quickly get out of the way, and I'm coming through, and we ride on board with the man himself. So this is going to be rather interesting. Well, literally straight lines before the S's through turns 8 and 9. So that lap has been aborted. There's Nathan Burton in the other Divario Corsa car, partnering Sean Campbell in 26th. And we have 8 and a quarter minutes still remaining. One car that has not ended up going onto the server so far, or not set a lap, is Daniel Hyde, the number 2. He's been with us for all 3 seasons. And Nathan Burton's just parked it, and that's brought out the yellow flags going into the mineshaft and brings it back in. And there's Luke Pound. He's made his way up into 17th position. Good showing from Bobby Trundy in what is, having that kind of vehicle, where it's the 2018 derivative. The 2015 version won the Liquid Moly 12 Hours of Bathurst in real life back in 2015. Luke Pound aborts his lap, but at the moment, it is still Charlie Crossland, 84 thousandths of a second ahead of Dean Riley. There's James Hall in the eTeam BRIT McLaren 720S GT3. One of several cars, including the Aston, including also the Ferrari, that have in the realms of about 700 Newton meters of torque. So getting out of the corners is one thing, but going into them is something completely different, isn't it, David?
It certainly is, and it's what I love about this GT3 racing is the fact that while each car has its own individual traits, some might be better on corners, some might be better on straight line, they all kind of roundabout come towards the same way, and that's why we have such close racing here. I mean, you're looking at that there, the timings, and everyone on track, everyone split by 5 seconds. So the likes of, say, Darren Cook and Michael Tyler getting to grips with the car, getting to grips with the track as well, they'll very quickly be ratcheting up that speed and coming closer to the pack. And if not, there's 4 or 5 drivers that they will be fighting amongst throughout the race as well. Now, one driver that I haven't seen, Alex, actually, is Martin Buchan, the teammate to Max Spooner. He's obviously a little bit AWOL tonight. Probably last time I saw him, he was posting on social media about playing golf. So I wonder if he's done lost on the course.
Well, he definitely went to the 19th hole then, in that case, David, or he shouted.
He's not escaped.
He's not escaped. He's either shouted 4 when he's done a hole in one at the 18th and then decided to sink a few at the 19th hole, or whether he decided I'll do the 9 and see how I fare, and he's ended up there for the last couple of days. And yeah, he is actually active in the YouTube chat, and he said Martin's gone, Spooner only 23rd. My setup advice, and the word advice being in inverted commas, must have been hopeless.
Wow, that says it all, doesn't it? But just noticed as well, Charlie Crossland just fired in another absolute banger of a lap there. 140.542 takes the gap up to now just over 1/10 of a second over Dean Riley in second place. And you know, some people would think that maybe he'd be happy with that pole position, but obviously not. Wants to keep firing in these lap times, and the track just getting faster and faster here.
Stuart Ross French, who was in the championship hunt for the AM title with the likes of Cammy Sturch, Ben Brown, who took the crown at the Le Mans season finale just over 140 days ago. The Aussie based now here in the United Kingdom, currently 10th, just under 1.1 seconds behind Crossland, a 1 minute 40.542. Martin Buchan has just put in the chat, already hitting the bar very early. My golf is like my driving, all over the place. Yeah, probably if you've had a couple of bevies there, Martin, I would say. Paulo Tempera. We also have a Portuguese entrant based out of Lagos. He's in the Luzcar Audi. So good to see both the Audi and the Lamborghini, which share the same drivetrain, but are very different animals in terms of their aerodynamic properties. A bit more angular and aggressive on the Lamborghini, but Audi's always looked pretty good, and the R8 GT3 LMS, David, is steeped in GT3 folklore, isn't it?
It really is, and it's a wonderful looking car. I've just never gelled with it as a driver. It's one of the most scary cars I think I've ever had the unfortunate pleasure to drive. It suffers massively from snap oversteer, so it makes you feel like you're a complete hero behind the wheel, and then it just decides for no reason whatsoever to pitch you into the nearest available wall at high speed, and it's a very scary experience. But when they go well, they really do go well, but unfortunately not really seeing any in the top 10. It's the number 8 there of Paulo Tempera for Visit Algarve Luzcar is the highest placing Audi at the moment with the 16th place, but it really does surprise you that, I mean, in fact, actually looking at the entry list, he is the only Audi that we've got in the championship, isn't he?
He is indeed. And to be honest with you, that could be quite an inspired choice. A lot of the tracks that we're going to on this championship, you know, it screams a little bit of Audi all over it. We've got just under 3 minutes to go, and there is Stuart Ross French trying to hustle that Aston Martin. One of the Team Fordzilla cars gets out of the way. And Ross French currently just under 1.1 seconds off of Crossland. As there's one of the McLarens from eTeam BRIT. No improvement there for Stuart Ross French. So we've got Monza, which will be round 2 on the 23rd of August, Alton Park 20th of September, Mount Panorama 18th of October, Snetterton 300 November 15th, Donington Park December 13th, Spa the 10th of January, and Imola concludes the season on the 7th of February. So that's our calendar. And Dean Riley, really, really nice guy. Lives actually not too far from Alton Park himself. And so it was good to put a name to the face and have a little bit of a chinwag. I was up there for social media duties with one of the many drivers that I work with outside of sim racing commentary. It's more real life racing on the social media side. But let's see if Dean Riley does get any closer. That was his best lap, but still, I think he matched his best lap, to be honest with you. Sean Campbell's absolutely flying around this circuit at the moment. Currently still 8th for Divario Corsa in the 88 Lamborghini. Runs out of Ingwe and punches the throttle, heads towards the line, and goes P7 ahead of Kieran Vidago on a 1 minute 41.280. Chris Wilson comes across the line, improves to 24th. Now, he was due to be an independent under Camsport Ice, but with Christian Kelly's withdrawal, he then decided to go into the sister team. Nick Foster running in P12 in the number 13 Mercedes, and he's trying to close in on. Look at the gap between him and Goldschmidt at the moment from Team Forzilla. 9 separate them.
That's quite impressive, actually. You could literally throw a piece of paper over the two of them, as you see Sean Campbell moving up into 7th place there. He's another man very, very tightly into that top 10 right now, as you see Stuart Ross French just rounding out the top 10 here. But back to Nick Foster, he's going to be coming through the final couple of corners there, very, very wide. He looks to be about 0.2 of a second up just now. Could he actually take that 9th place away from Bobby Trundley? It's looking good for top 10 for Nick Foster. You've seen him improving and improving. He does! 9th place then, 0.9 of a second behind your pole sitter. That's a great lap there from Nick Foster as we jump to Dominic Alvarez with just 18 seconds left to go in the qualifying session, and it does look like we've finally got our top 10, Alex, within 1 second, and then top 20 within 2 seconds.
Yeah, Dominic Alvarez trying to close in. He's now heading up the hill. He's negotiated his way through the S's, now up into, from what will be 4th down to 1st, through Loikop into the next left-hander. Timer has hit 0. Rich Smith, 3rd. Sean Campbell, 7th. And that was one of the other Team Forzilla cars that has just decided to abort the lap. But Alvarez, could he put something in there to put the cat amongst the pigeons? It was an Aston 1-2 meritocracy courtesy of Messrs Riley and Smith, but Crossland is going to be on provisional pole for the first race of the season. Alvarez comes through. Crossland's teammate exits the 16th and final corner, punches the throttle down hard. Is it going to be an improvement? P4. So we'll line up alongside Rich Smith, but here is Charlie Crossland, and he's looking to put one more lap into the books to see if he can pull. It looks like he's a couple of tenths up, I believe, David.
Yeah, two tenths up at the moment. He's looking very, very good, but he needs to be careful because he's got Dean Riley right in his toe just now, coming through the final couple of corners just now here at Kyalami, through the Crocodiles and down in towards Cheetah here. Still looking very, very good. Charlie Crossland, who really didn't have to push, he didn't have to do all that much because he wasn't looking all that much under threat, comes out the final corner, still looking very, very good to make a small improvement here. Charlie Crossland goes across the line, but he doesn't improve, and neither does Dean Riley. So Charlie Crossland, Alex, taking pole in our first race of the season.
Yep, so qualifying in the books for round 1 out of 8 here at Kyalami for the opening round of season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. A big thank you to those that are currently watching. Good to see that Cadan Casual Apex boss Phil Webb is also watching. I know that Aidan Bro, Phil Webb's comment was absolutely priceless. He said, not sure what Sean Campbell has had for breakfast, but it's quite clearly working. Eric Molinati said Campbell's a beast. We've even had, you ever remember Aidan Bro? Well, firstly, you have to congratulate him and his partner. They've just welcomed a newborn into the world. he wants to join the championship. Well, I think you might need to get in touch. I think not just him, but also Mark Neutelings might need to get in touch if they want to join the championship. I'm sure that our championship organisation body could maybe facilitate it, because there is an added caveat we didn't tell you during the preview show. There's a drop score round. That's going to really put the cat amongst the pigeons, but with it, there's an extra twist in the toe. You know how I like these things, David. If you win a race, all right, if you win a race, it's 75 kilos worth of ballast. And effectively, if you miss a round, that carries over. You have to still have that 75 kilo success ballast there. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be quite interesting there. But there is the grid, and look at that colourful grid there. Absolutely brilliant. We do have Zancho Simsport back with us this season. So your starting order for what will be a 60-minute race, a mandatory pit stop. The same pit stop window applies. 20 minutes elapsed, and then is when it opens. And then 20 minutes to go is when we close that up. And then it's all for themselves. So it is Crossland from Riley, Smith from Alvarez, Mitchell, Dendy in P6 ahead of Stuart Ross-French, Sean Campbell, Kieran Vidago, Nick Foster, Bobby Trundley, Goldschmidt, that's the top 12. David Simon, Chris Pinchbeck and Ben Brown, that's the top 15. Paulo Tempera ahead of Luke Pound, Bradley Brockies, Hamish Easner and Tim Lane completing the top 20. Jamie Falvey and Sandro Ballesteros, that is row 11. Max Spooner completes the top 23. And you know what, David? I'm so glad that we are back for season 3. We've gone to a great platform. Chris Wilson 24th, James Hall 25th ahead of Nathan Burton, Michael Tyler, Darren Cook, Daniel Hyde meant to be at the back of the grid. Oh, and I see a lesser spotted Cadan, Casual, Apex, Lamborghini Huracan at the back end. So 29 cars. And what's on offer tonight? Well, if they get the fastest lap, it is a set of branded eTeam BRIT IMB Racewear sim racing gloves. A big thank you to IMB Racewear for coming on board as a partner for not just eTeam BRIT, but also for Team BRIT as well. And a big thank you to the Surrey Copper Distillery, who will be providing those wonderful bottles of Copperfield Dry London Gin to the race winner for every single one of the 8 rounds in this championship. Now, David, we've commentated on so much together, and effectively, I can't wait. And it's all about the rundown to Crowthorns for the first time.
It's going to be awesome, isn't it? I mean, obviously, like you said, we've worked together on so many different championships, but there's something about eTeam BRIT that's just something a little bit different to everything else that we do. It's a very unique group that we get to commentate on here, and it's great to see the family back together for another season. As I said at the beginning, I'm so excited to see us back here in Assetto Corsa Competizione. I think that this is where we're really going to see some of the closest and tightest racing that we've seen in previous seasons. It's going to be a cracking race. Wherever you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, get yourselves comfy, get yourselves that cup of coffee, get the popcorn out. Never mind any stupid reality shows that are on this evening. Why are they all looking at us, Alex? That is kind of creeping me out a little bit. But it's great to see everyone maybe not adhering so much to social distancing, but it's they're all looking very, very happy. And I've got a feeling if our broadcast director Mike was to move the camera, it's like one of those paintings where the eyes just sort of follow you about. They would start following us about as well. That's a bit creepy, is it? Yeah, never mind.
I know,
right.
Yeah, indeed.
They're all just looking at the camera.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I don't think we've got many waving hands, but look, they've Crossland started leading them away around this 4.529 kilometre circuit. Established back in 1961, it's currently owned by Porsche South Africa, and it hosts the Intercontinental GT Challenge 9 Hours of Kyalami every single year. There is Charlie Crossland. And it is going to be a 2x2 rolling start formation. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet this evening, David, is the track and air temperature. 27 degrees, air temperature 34 degrees, track temperature. It's overcast with plenty of sunshine, which means we're going to have a good 60 minutes of racing here tonight.
Absolutely, and that is one of the new dynamics for this season. Obviously, Assetto Corsa Competizione has its own dynamic weather. Obviously, previous seasons on previous platforms, we've seen the weather playing its part, but I don't think anything can compare to the hijinks that we see when the rain does decide to fall here in Assetto Corsa Competizione. It's looking like a beautiful day here in the virtual recreation of Kyalami in South Africa. Everybody's ready to go. We're ready to go. I hope you're ready to go at home. And yeah, I've said it before and I've said it again. Regan, now, actually, there's a point, Alex, just while we're waiting for the cars to go round. What happened to Regan Mitchell? He was up in 4th place there. He's currently down in 5th on my timing, but Dominic Alvarez sneaking up into 4th position with that 510 team Fordzilla Blue. So Fordzilla really have pulled something out of the bag, and they're on for a heck of a race today.
Well, considering that we have 2 of their 4 drivers in the top 4, Crossland on pole, and the proverbial meat and cheese in that particular Fordzilla SimSport Solutions sandwich. You've got Dean Riley and Rich Smith rounding out the top 3. Dominic Alvarez 4th. Will Dendy for Zancho SimSport completes the top 5. Then it's SimSport Racing's Regan Mitchell. So yeah, I think we're going to see plenty of fireworks, and I say that if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And it's going to be down to Crossland and Riley to control the pace. And effectively, this is where it begins. Season 3, new champions to be crowned at the end of 8 rounds. The top 15 out of the championship goes to the 2-hour Brands Hatch one-off event in March of next year. And we will see who will get bragging rights, who will draw first blood, and who will have the biggest amount of ballast going into round 2 in Monza next month. Crossland on pole, weaving from side to side to get that all-important heat in the carcass of the alloy wheel and the tyre, and thereby it generates through to the brakes. Out of Ingwe, right then for the first time, Season 3, eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. Are we ready? Are we steady? It's time to go green. We're off and away in a great start from Crossland, and Riley goes quickly on the defensive. Look at the start from Dominic Alvarez, who's already got past Rich Smith as they head their way down through the kink. And what's more, Alvarez looking to go at the inside through Crawthorns, has to back out of it. As, oh no, Alvarez has been turned around and it's caused carnage. Everyone's trying to avoid, and there's been more dramas. Regan Mitchell's been involved as well. Oh my goodness, already the first corner, and we have had complete and utter pandemonium and carnage right there, and there's more happening up towards barbecue.
Yeah, you hate to say it, but unfortunately these first corners are absolute chaos for sure. But Alvarez was off like a shot. Just unfortunate to see him caught up in that, but he'll be on to the recovery drive just now. But it's all about Dean Riley. He's trying to catch up to the tail end of Charlie Crossland, and these two have absolutely gone. They have left Will Dendy for dead right now in that 3rd position. Will be trying to catch up, but look at that Charlie Crossland. Too much heat into that corner there, and that loses him a little bit of pace. Gets onto the back of Crossland does Riley, but I mean, look at Campbell, Sean Campbell. I mean, that is insane. He's up to 4th position already, and he's still onto the back of Will Dendy. Nick Foster up into 5th position as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when I tip one of the drivers. He gets caught up in that turn 1 shenanigans.
Yeah, Nick Foster, also keep your eyes on him. He started down in P9, or P10. Kieran Vidago in 8th. Bobby Chonley now 9th. Chris Pinchback down from the mid-pack up to P10. And now the battle for the lead is on. Riley looking towards the outside. Oh no, that's that's Stuart Ross French. My apologies there. That's with David Simon. David Simon was nowhere to be found in comparison, as you can see here. That's the 7.5 from McLaren behind. That's Ben Brown, our M champion for last season, as it's all getting rather heated, as it looks like there's been more dramas going through into Crowthorns once again. Ben Brown finds himself in 11th. And who has he got behind him? That looks to be Bobby Trundley. There's the 105 of Bradley Brockies in the eTeam BRIT McLaren outfit. He's partnering James Hall in the 67. But Ben Brown finds himself in P10. Luke Pound in 11th. Paulo Tempera from Portugal started around about 15th or 16th place. He is now currently in 13th position. Max Spooner's Lexus from Team Vasaro. Good, big thank you to them for allowing Max Spooner and Martin Buchan to run under that livery, but of course there has to be a little bit of pink when Martin Buchan's involved on his car, and the Scottish flag, the Scottish saltire is well and truly on the design as well. I can guarantee you that from the perspective of the fact I've seen the liveries. But Crossland leads from Riley by just over 3/10. Ben Brown is closing on Chris Pinchback as they go through into Mineshaft. Sean Campbell now has got Will Dendy from Sancho Simsport in his crosshairs. It is Mercedes versus Lamborghini through the final corner. 56.5 minutes to go. Crossland is not being allowed to breathe by Dean Riley as Will Dendy gets pushed. Well, is being pushed along by Sean Campbell. We go on board with Ben Brown. There's Chris Pinchbeck up to 9th place. Bobby Trundley just up ahead. Campbell looked for the move there, going through into Crowthorns. Crowthorns had to back out of it, but Ben Brown needs to be a little bit closer to slingshot it up the inside of Chris Pinchbeck.
Yeah, he certainly does. And do you remember how I was, tipping Regan Mitchell for a strong performance today? Well, guess who our first DNF is? None other than Regan Mitchell. He's out of the... in fact, no, he's got going again. He's just now 2 laps behind everyone. He was into the pits for some major repair work, so I did panic thinking that he was out the race, but yeah, stone dead last right now for Regan Mitchell, so it's going to have to be one hell of a recovery drive from him. And the number 55, I can see as well, Darren Cook, really limping into pit lane just now, so some big damage for the BMW there. And yeah, you can see that on the front end of that. Meanwhile, back, just looking at the leaders as well, Charlie Crossland opening up 0.4 of a second of a gap over Dean Riley, but he gets that pace right back again, and the Mercedes is trying to open up the gap, but look at how late on the brakes Dean Riley is. He is absolutely up for this tonight in that 222 Aston Martin, of course, from SimSport Solutions here, and this is epic stuff right now, Alex.
Yeah, I do like the fact of the livery that they've got SimSport Solutions Noir, so black, and then Rouge for Dean Riley. Well, Riley's in the black one, and Rich Smith is... So the move has happened. Well, actually, there has been a change for 3rd and 4th, because Campbell and Foster have both got past Will Dendy, who drops down into 5th position, but he has a little bit of a comfortable gap. And look, Campbell, I'm just keeping an eye at the moment. Now, who's put the fastest lap in at the moment? Charlie Crossland, 1 minute 41.298, but with Sean Campbell pushing like he is at the moment, he's only less than 7/10 off of the pace from Crossland, but we know how rapid he is. But Dean Riley, also, his best lap so far has been a 1 minute 41.376, and you can see the gap is coming down. It's just under 0.28, and you can... and looking at Dominic Alvarez has made his way back up into 23rd position after that first lap incident. We do have race control and race stewarding, so all results called on any race will be subject to post-race scrutinization, so they will look through. There is actually some live, I would imagine, live stewarding going on as we speak. They will look through everything and then contact the relevant people associated with any incidents. But Ben Brown is closing on Chris Pinchback, and David Simon in the number 64, who loves a bit of marshalling in real life, is not a bad dab hand behind the wheel, as there is Dominic Alvarez past Sandro Ballesteros. We've got just over 13 minutes until the pit stop window opens. It's a mandatory 30-second pit stop. Automatic tyre change is required. So the thing is, with this format, as we found out over the last couple of seasons, apart from... Oh, now that was a bit of a moment there for James Hall in the 67 McLaren. That's another game by Dominic Alvarez. Oh, and I did say on the hot lap, do not take too much curb going through Cheetah. Well, James Hall has literally gone Knight Rider style in that number 67 McLaren off of Cheetah. And all of a sudden, Dominic Alvarez went, thank you very much, you've just opened the door. And the same could be said for Sandro Ballesteros right there.
Yeah, that was a wild ride he was in for there over the curbs there, and that's exactly why you don't want to do that at all. But manages to get away with it. Oh, and there's been more instant as well with Regan Mitchell. You see him bringing out the yellow flags there, car off to the side. I've got a feeling that might have been, was that Darren Cook out of the pits as well? I think it might have been because he's went back into the pits there. We've got the 74 into the pit lane as well. I'm just trying to see who that is as well. That's Joel Schmidt that's got caught up in that one. So yeah, that's out the frying pan into the fire for poor number 69, Regan Mitchell.
Yeah, right on board the front roof cam. As always, fantastic broadcast cameras from SimSport Solutions, the broadcast team. And you can just see the attention to detail on this platform, that as soon as you turn a corner, the windscreen wiper has a little bit of movement there going through. But we are just into the first 8.5 minutes. Charlie Crossland has a lead over Dean Riley by just 0.5 of a second. Sean Campbell is, he's starting to close. He's just taken over 3.5 tenths out of Dean Riley. Now, Dean Riley is the one that's a little bit between a rock and a hard place at the moment, because Charlie Crossland is punching the hole, but Dean Riley's got that turbulent air behind, and they're running consistently on laps. But Riley, last time out, did a 1 minute 41.9, Crossland a 141.6, and then Campbell a 141.5. Another yellow flag out once again, so there are more dramas.
Yeah, that's Jamie Falvey who's brought out the yellow flags there. He's taken a bit too much of the curb at the Crocodiles as well. Gets going again, but yeah, huge moment there from Jamie, who was doing very well. He was up in, I think it was about 14th position, but that obviously drops him all the way down outside the top 20 after that one, Alex.
Yep, so just over 50 minutes to go, just over 10 to go until the pit stop window opens for the first time this season. And the reason why we've done it over... now that's a bit of a minute. That's a moment there. That was for one of the Red Shell racing cars. That would have been, I think, probably Tim Lane, that's just had an off-track excursion. Chris Wilson has made his way up, and he's closing in on the one of the two Lexus cars that are meant to be populating the grid. There is only one tonight, courtesy of Max Spooner, running under the eTeam Vistaro banner. So Spooner, having got himself into the top 23 in qualifying. His race pace always seems to doesn't always now. It's not a surprise with Max Spooner for race pace. Qualifying doesn't always go to plan for him, but in the race, he turns the corner and he has that light switch inside that he flicks on, and all of a sudden, yep, it's go time.
Yeah, he's an absolute animal behind the wheel. We saw it in previous seasons where qualifying does let him down a little bit, but he just absolutely goes for it during the race, and he's certainly not afraid to send it left, right and centre. So it's great to see him back on the grid as well, and Mr. Cool, calm and collected. We'll see how he does through the course of this race, but 15th place, I think he'll be very, very happy with that. He'll be certainly trying to get himself into the top 10 there. As you see, I think that's one of the BMWs just making its way out of pit lane just now. You can see just behind that is Kieran Vidago and the number 445 of Mike Tyler duking it out there. You've got a car into the wall there. And this is...
that's Luke Pound. That's Luke Pound that's just hit the wall
60s.
Coming out of the... Yeah, so Luke Pound in the 66, he's dropped down. But this is now making it the battle for what is going to be 14th place. Vidago and Tyler. Well, Vidago's now got through. Oh, Spooner's gone wide. And that's through Clubhouse. And Kieran Vidago takes those exit stage left, takes avoiding action. And, now, I've just noticed we have a 5-second time penalty coming up for Rich Smith. That looks to be for that first lap altercation, I believe, David.
Yeah, he's certainly got it. We've not had anything in race control just as of yet, so we'll confirm that when we do get that updated. But yeah, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work that one out. I mean, obviously there was all hell kicking off in turn one, and it just gives you even more impetus now for that number 76 to get his head down and keep pushing right now. But Chris Wilson, there you go. Penalty for car number 76, 5 seconds for causing a collision with car 510. That's Dominic Alvarez, and they're up the inside at last possible moment. Goes Kieran Badago. Take a bow, Kieran. That was a move and a half.
I think Ben Brown Chris Wilson knew the move was coming and decided, you know what, I'm going to just go back at him. And the talk of both these vehicles, one is a 3.9 litre twin-turbo V8 mid-mounted, the other one is a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 mid-mounted, and then they've got Max Spooner closing in on them. And now you've got the two eTeam BRIT AMR cars. So Michael Tyler bringing along teammate Sandro Ballesteros for the ride. Sandro Ballesteros competes in karting. We do have to give a shout-out to one of the teams he actually runs with, and that's X-Kart, run by Matty Street, who actually joined us at the Team Brit Summer Series. Now here's the replay, and this is going into the first corner. Oh, the slightest of touches, and it puts him into Dendy. Oh, and that's why Regan Mitchell was spun around, and then one of the Lamborghinis, that would have been Dan Hyde, I think, or maybe his teammate, that Hamish Eisner got caught a cropper there, so to speak. But that just quickly shows how going into the first turn, this is, and we say this a lot, don't we, David? It's a marathon, not a sprint. But you try telling a racing driver that going into turn one, and what they want to do is send it, make up places, and get a good push, for the first part of the race itself.
I don't know, if you watched British GT at Spa this weekend, at least they made the start line. At least they made it into turn one, you've got to say. But yeah, like, racing drivers are going to be racing drivers. They're always going to be going for a gap, no matter if you tell them that gap is going to disappear within half a second. They're still going to absolutely send it wherever they can. And that's what makes it so enjoyable for us as commentators, and so enjoyable for our fans at home watching this. It's what makes it so exciting. Just seeing Luke Pound into the pits there, or just coming out of the pits there, gets back into it. Let's have a look here. Oh, this is the 55 then of Dan Cook. No, I've got such a bad feeling about this. If we've seen him and we're still watching him, bounces into the barrier. Oh no, he's going to rejoin it in the middle of the track, isn't he? Oh no, and he's absolutely nuked. Was that the number 69?
Yeah, that was Regan Mitchell.
Yeah, that is terrible. That is really, really bad rejoin right there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you do, I'm going to use one of your catchphrases now. You hate to see it. You really do.
Yeah, you do. Oh no, that's Max Spooner off again. He has a huge moment of oversteer, gets the car back on, and I tell you what, that is a scary, scary moment there for the eTeam Vazzaro driver. There, you saw the car flicking to the left and then to the right as he fights with both the throttle and the steering input. But yeah, that Lexus is not looking happy with the steering inputs from Max Spooner. That is the second incident from him in 3 laps that he's had.
Yeah, he's just got to keep it neat and tidy, and effectively that is where these drivers are now. And there's another one that was through Cheetah. He's done a James Hall right there, is Max Spooner. And he's lost a position. Dominic Alvarez is just like literally, he's scything his way like an old druid back in the Middle Ages with a scythe in his hand. Jamie Falvey. Now, for those wondering about, so Mark Noislings, if you are interested in entering, there are plenty of Bentley Continentals if you want to join the championship. Jamie Falvey looked up the inside there of Luke Pound going through. So, Mark, if you want to get involved, well, if anyone wants to DM us via social media at eTeam BRIT on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, get in touch. We'll see if we can get you in for round 2 and for the remainder of the season. So, and I do know that Mark Noislings is the de facto unofficial Netherlands Bentley boy. So Jamie Falvey, driver coach for Team BRIT. And I've just seen that there is a penalty for Ben Brown coming through. That's 10 seconds. We've got just under 3 minutes to go until the pit stop window opens. Now, we're going to have a look at an incident here, and that is the 74. Oh, now that was the... oh, hang on a sec. That was the six. That's Goldschmidt. Oh, and it's the McLaren that caught him. And the McLaren has gone straight into the tyres going into the pit lane. And I've seen the number 30. That's Hamish Eisner. The Cadan Casual Apex car as Jamie Falvey puts it around the outside going into the Crocodiles on Luke Pound. Well, I was expecting drama, David. I wasn't expecting that amount of drama that we've had in the first 17 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, that is a bit wild, isn't it? Jamie Falvey trying to fight it around the outside of Luke Pound, and Luke Pound is like, never. You will never be having that one. Yeah, we promised it wouldn't disappoint, and it certainly hasn't. But Ben Brown getting that 10-second penalty there as we're back to the battle for the lead. Great to see this cracking on as well, because Sean Campbell was looking like he was starting to make inroads in that Lamborghini, but it's just starting to drop off the pace just now. And Dean Riley, I'm going to put this out there. I wonder if Dean Riley is playing the strategy game right now, because he's staying in the toe of Charlie Crossland, and I wonder if this is just trying to save some fuel so that he can do the undercut or in the pit lane when the pit's coming. Confirmation there, penalty car 22, 10 seconds for the cause of the collision with the number 74, that's Joe Schmidt, and not giving the position back. I'm not sure he could have been given the position back because he was in pit lane. I'm not too sure about that one, if that's what happened there.
Well, no, I think the thing is that with regards to that, it might have been for an earlier incident.
Okay.
So that would explain all. And the unwritten rule in sim racing, particularly on this platform, is that if you do accidentally take a position for what we call in karting ABC, advantage by contact, you're better off giving that position back. So the penalty might not have been as severe as it was, and that's going to be 10 seconds added onto the pit stop when the pit stop window opens in just 26 seconds time. Sandro Ballesteros closing in on Chris Wilson for 15th. So it is 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third, 13 for fourth, 11 points for fifth place, and then it's 10-1 for places 6 to 15th. As we now have our first pit stop window officially open for the next 20 minutes. So every driver has to pit for a mandatory 30 seconds. If you do have a penalty in the first half of the race, you will have to serve that before the pit stop actually occurs. And that's going to drop Rich Smith and Ben Brown not as probably as far down as you might think.
It definitely isn't, because the pit stops are quite long anyway, so they can easily undo that damage by just, say, taking a shorter stop or taking less fuels. You see Sandro Ballesteros going side by side with the number 68 of Chris Wilson there for Cam Sport Fire, and this is awesome racing as you see them going through towards the final couple of corners there. Ballesteros tries to put it up the inside, but surely Chris Wilson's never going to have that. Wilson round the outside takes that position back by force and says not a chance, sunshine. But Sandro Ballesteros in a cracking position as they come down towards Crocodile for the next couple of laps. Who is going to blink first in terms of pit stops? Ballesteros surely never going to try and get the cut back there. And yeah, that's always going to be Chris Wilson there, but it's going to be the run down to turn number 1.
Right, Regan Mitchell, Dominic Alvarez, both in the pits. Rich Smith now in the pits. And I think the other phrase you could use for Chris Wilson right there, he was saying, not on your Nelly that you're going to get past there, Sandro Ballesteros. But Ballesteros looking up the inside through Crowthorns. Now they've got to power up the hill through turns 3 and 4 at the Jux K sweep, and the torque of the McLaren just screams volumes. He got a real good run to Chris Wilson, and then through into barbecue. It's kind of making me hungry, even though I've already had dinner. But you can see here that Wilson and Ballesteros, they're putting on a show for the crowds at home, aren't they?
They absolutely are, and what they've got to watch out, if I'm honest, Alex, is the fact that they're fighting so hard. They're going to be getting caught by Max Spooner and the 445 of Mike Tyler very, very shortly. And we've got a drive-through for the number 55 car. That is Dan Cook. Predictably, we kind of saw this one coming for the collision with the number 69 car. That is, of course, Regan Mitchell.
Yeah. But that's the thing. They would have said, well, he needs to hold the brakes a little bit longer. Oh, a little bit of a twitch there going through Loicott for Sandro Ballesteros, but he keeps it together down through Mineshaft. This is a very fast right-hander because you're actually shifting up into 5th gear as you hug the apex on the left-hand side. We've got just over 17 and a quarter minutes of the pit stop window left to go before we go all guns blazing right up until the end. Chris Pinchbeck, we ride on board with the number 43 from SimSport Racing B on the Mercedes non-Evo GT3, and just up ahead David Simon in 8th, and there is Ben Brown for Cam Sport Fire in the 22. Bobby Trundley is running a bit on his lonesome at the moment. He's about 7.6 seconds ahead of David Simon, but looks to be a good moment there for Ben Brown, and Chris Pinchbeck has nothing he can do about that one at all. Ben Brown just put the power down, the back end stepped out to the left-hand side, and all of a sudden it was spinning around more times than Kylie Minogue, that McLaren, I'm afraid.
Oh, that is, that's unfortunate to see, but look, this is what happens. It's high stakes here at Kyalami, and everybody is absolutely out from themselves. A couple of pit stops already underway. You see Rich Smith in the number 76 machine for SimSport Solutions. He's already taken his only pit stop of the race, and the 510 of Dominic Alvarez for Team Fordzilla Blue in the Merc, he's into the pits as well, but Stuart Ross French now in pit lane just now. But this battle rages on right now. Sandro Ballesteros onto the back of Chris Wilson like an Exocet missile, tries to outbrake him through that corner there, but it's not going to happen. That tight left-hand corner is always a really, really interesting corner to try and do an overtake at Loicott. It's never going to happen though, because Chris Wilson really knows where to place that McLaren. He really does have the drive out, as you see Sandro Ballesteros trying as much as he can through the Crocodiles and through Cheetah. But again, that McLaren just has the number of the Aston Martin, Alex.
Yes, indeed. And a little bit of a run wide coming out of Ingwe from Chris Wilson. So who are you supporting tonight out there? We already know that there's a few of you supporting other people, but this battle becomes effectively the interim battle for P11. Charlie Crossland now on lap number 15 of this race. He still holds, if memory serves me correctly, the fastest lap, which was set pretty much when we went about 20 minutes ago. So within the first 6 minutes, Charlie Crossland has the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 41.298. Ben Brown now in the pits. He served his 10-second penalty. He'll probably be more than likely repairing a bit of damage to the front end of that McLaren, and maybe the bit where Chris Pinchbeck had nowhere to go. Eric Monolinati is supporting Sean Campbell, who is 8 seconds off of Dean Riley with 34 and a quarter minutes remaining on the clock. There is the battle for the lead. It has been very much an enforced stalemate courtesy of Dean Riley, because I know for a fact that if he wanted to go for it, he could have tried and gone for a move. But as you said, you rightly alluded to, David, that he is going for the strategy call. It's about securing points. Dominic Alvarez is currently battling with Daniel Hyde, and that's a brazen move. Oh, Daniel Hyde hit the side there. I think was trying to force Alvarez wide. Alvarez, I don't think, will like that at all. And there is Ben Brown in between the middle of them. And Ben Brown runs a little bit wide going through Barbecue, and Alvarez looking to get past him. And if he's going to go into Sunset around the outside, you have got to be kidding me. He's putting it there, but that's not the easiest place to put it around the outside, but it will give him the inside line if he keeps that door open. But Ben Brown does not allow it to happen.
Yeah, Bradley Brockie's great move there on the inside to take that position. Dan Hyde, I don't think there was much in that. I think Dan Hyde just the car just drifted wide a little bit, and there was some unfortunate contact there. Looks like we've lost Darren Cook. Then he's got the big bad letters DSG beside his name, which one can only presume means that he has been disqualified from this race. Presumably that's for not serving that drive-through penalty within his allotted couple of laps. So as gutting to see if we have lost Darren Cook from the race here. But this is a cracking little battle going on here for 22nd, 23rd, and 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. There you see Dan Hyde in the middle of that big sandwich there, the Lamborghini ahead of the McLaren, ahead of the Mercedes there, and it's on the run down to that final corner and up the inside. Oh, Dan Hyde just loses out on that corner there. There's a little bit of bumping and barging, but unfortunately that was Dan Hyde's mistake that let the two cars through there, and yeah, that is an unfortunate moment. Dan Hyde, I think he's got to just let this one go. He's lost that position there, and he doesn't look like taking that back.
Yeah, I completely concur with that statement there, David, because Alvarez would have been at the sharper end of the field. Sandro Ballesteros is battling away with Chris Wilson. This is for 10th on the road. David Simon from Team Fordzilla Blue, I think, has pitted from what was 8th or 9th. So 11 minutes and 38 seconds still remaining on the the pit lane window. Ballesteros right in the slipstream, right up the back bumper of Chris Wilson. He's going to look to go up the inside through Crowthorns. The youngster based out of Rochdale gets the job done. It was easy as that, but look what's happened there. I think he's just let Chris Wilson get past. I think because Ballesteros, I think, quickly ran out of room going through the Jux K sweep.
Yeah, he was way too late on the brakes there, and it was never going to happen. But look at this, Ben Brown and Dominic Alvarez side by side, and Alvarez gets the move done on the McLaren as easy as you like, and makes it look so simple coming through the Crocodiles just now down to complete their lap. Remember, these two have completed their pit stop, so this is now a straight out dogfight for position, but Dominic Alvarez really lets the grunt of that Mercedes roar into life here with half an hour left to go in our first race of this brand new season of eTeam BRIT. Alex, it's been a fantastic race so far. We've really had everything we possibly could have asked for, but this battle at the front is so captivating right now as Charlie Crossland and it's Dean Riley actually that pits first. He blinks and goes into the pits and comes out, and that means Sean Campbell, would you believe it, Alex, is in second place.
Yeah, also who has pitted, Chris Pinchback. So they're the highest placed drivers that were in the top 7 coming into this. There is Dean Riley. He's now exited what will be in 7th place. Looks to be more than likely behind Kieran Vidago, but Sean Campbell is trying to close on Charlie Crossland. The gap between them at the moment, first to second, is just over 10 seconds. We've got less than half of the pit stop window remaining. And if you do not pit, if your green square is not showing on the timing, then that means you get an automatic penalty that is system-based. And if memory serves me correctly, Assetto Corsa Competizione, David, it's about 120 seconds if you don't pit.
Yeah, it's a 2-minute penalty that you get onto your time, which basically absolutely destroys your race. It's fine if you've got, several laps of an advantage, but for most drivers that's going to send them at least 15-20 places back through the order. The great thing about this championship, and you're seeing this tonight, this is what we alluded to early on in the pre-race show, it's just a fantastic level of ability. As you see the number 66 car making its way through and letting all of the cars through. That's Luke Pound in the Team BRIT Nissan machine. The driving standards and the driving quality is so close in this championship. It is just a joy to watch tonight. I mean, you've got 9th, 10th and 11th there. That is, of course, Stuart Ross French, Sandro Ballesteros and Will Dendy. You've got Chris Wilson just up in front of them as well. But look at that. I mean, that's what, 5 seconds, Alex? Splitting those 4 or 5 drivers.
Not too far behind. Max Spooner. He's I think he's stopped. He's gone off again, hasn't he? The minute either you or I mention him, he decides, "Oh, I've put a foot wrong there." Well, he nearly jumped in both feet first. He's currently will be out. He's actually up into 8th place. But if you look at those wondering on the timing screens, for those that are the uninitiated reference Assetto Corsa Competizione, those that have yet to pit and still have 7 minutes and 50 to do so, they have the amber block with the number 1 on the right hand side of their race number, as Will Dendy is trying to go toe to toe with Stuart Ross French, who runs wide coming out of Barbecue. Now they're going to head into the right hand sweeper, turn 6 here at Sunset. Dendy's looking to put it towards the outside to get a good run of momentum. He's got Jamie Falvey in the BMW just behind, and Stuart Ross French parks the car exactly where he needs to, as the top 3, Crossland, Campbell and Foster, now in the pits, as you can see in your picture on the bottom right. And Kieran Vidago has got a drive through. That would probably mean to me that is going to be for track limits abuse, I'm afraid. So yeah, Vidago's race is not going to be any much better than his teammate at SimSport Racing, Regan Mitchell.
It's likely that's, as you said there, it's going to be an automated drive-through penalty given to him for track limits there. It's a shame to say it, and I've got to be honest, that's a been disaster for SimSport Racing. Look at this.
Look who's in the lead. Riley's done the undercut. He's made it work. Now Charlie Crossland has to go for it. He's got 26.5 minutes. Crossland came out of the pits, and Riley is a good couple of seconds behind. We'll get an indication on the next split, which will be our intermediate one, which is coming up now as Riley makes his way through into Sunset. So Riley leads. What's the gap between him and Crossland? 3.6 seconds. So Dean Riley did the right thing. Good to hear from the man, the myth, the legend, behind getting all the cars at Team BRIT working, Mr. Al Locke. I hope you're keeping well, buddy. Kieran Vidago serving his drive-through penalty for track limits. The only person in the top 11 that has yet to pit. Actually, look at the top 15. The only drivers that have yet to pit: Max Spooner in 7th, James Hall in the eTeam BRIT McLaren at 67 entry, down in 12th place. And we've also got Nathan Burton in the Di Vario Corsa Lamborghini down in 15th. Dan Hyde yet to pit. Bradley Brockey's yet to pit. And they've got 5.5 minutes to do so. And when they're running in the 141s, that will probably give them, I would say, 2 to 3 laps maximum here, David, as we go on board with Will Dendy, who's closing on Stuart Ross French. This is for 5th on the road.
This is a tight battle here for Stuart Ross French. He's got Will Dendy catching him very, very rapidly, but it does look like Stuart Ross French able to pull the pin in that Aston Martin and just get away from him. But look at how much Will Dendy can catch up to him in the corners. Ben Brown then getting a 10-second penalty again, this time for a collision with car number 43, and that is again did not give the position back. How many times is he going to actually do that? That's with Charlie Pinchbeck in the
Chris Pinchbeck.
Chris Pinchbeck in the in the Mercedes.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Ben Brown lost the back end and then tried to catch it, and all of a sudden he's compromised Chris Pinchbeck. Now Pinchbeck coming under the kibosh, you can see that the front the bonnet on the car is slightly out of alignment in comparison with where the front bumper is. There is Rich Smith, who is coming back, and he's actually made his way up into 11th position. Now with the team's championship, if both cars score, those points go towards the standings. So at the moment, with 20 laps completed, as David Simon looking up the inside, a touch with Chris Pinchbeck, sends the 43 around, and all of a sudden Rich Smith manages to get through from 11th to 9th. I think maybe David Simon was a bit too overzealous with that touch there on Chris Pinchbeck, and that was right front to left rear going through turn 5 at Barbecue.
don't know. I think Chris might have tried to close the door when he was already in there, and David Simon had decided to go for the apex of that corner. I've got to be honest. I think Chris opened that door, and you've got to be aware that cars could be in there. So, yeah, difficult one.
Yeah, we'll leave that one to the stewards. Very, very much case in point. Tim Lane closing in on Chris Pinchbeck, who's now got himself back onto the circuit. Tim Lane now gets up the inside. That's through Loikop. Now, that's a bit of a brazen move, but Chris Pinchbeck making sure that enough racing room was given. So, with that previous incident on turn 5, we will let the stewards decide on that one. But we have 2 minutes and 51 seconds to go. You remember, what was it? I think it was season 2. No, it's season 1, when Max Spooner was running with Freddie Hunt in Team Texaco, and literally with a second to spare, Max Spooner put it right in at the dying moments. Now, there was a car that's just gone around. That looks to be, do not tell me that is David Simon that's just had an off right there. It is the case, but also another development, Dean Riley in clean air, and it is the case, the damage, well, that's quite apparent to see there. Dean Riley has now taken the fastest lap of the race away from Charlie Crossland, a 1 minute 41.070 on the completion of lap 21. 2 minutes to go until the pit stop window closes officially. Spooner, Hall, Falvey, they all need to pit. They've got to do it this time around, David, otherwise there could be dramas. We're going to have a look at this replay between Simon and Pinchbeck through the Jux K sweep. And that's a bit sort of... I don't want to call it really, David. But you could see that at some point, going into the braking zone, Pinchbeck braked early in order to try and affect the turn-in. And then David Simon decided, I'm going to put the car there because he's opened the door for me. And it's one of one, maybe one of another, but we don't know that. But James Hall has just been passed by Tim Lane, who's got himself up into 10th position. James Hall, who normally races on other platforms, this is his first competitive side of things. I know that the eTeam BRIT guys have been working hard behind the scenes. Here's another replay. We're going to have a look at this. David, just take us through the overhead here.
Yeah, so for me, the fact that David Simon gets gets alongside under braking before they reach that corner, that triggers the radar for Pinchbeck. And for me, Pinchbeck has to, he would have known that he was there. He would have been aware that that car was on the inside there. And for me, again, on my unsophisticated opinion, that's on Pinchbeck to leave more room on the apex there. That's a driving incident at best, but for me, a little bit should have been a little bit more awareness from both drivers. Yellow flag out again. That is going to be the 4 of Kieran Vidago that brings that one out, and that's a bad day going from bad to worse for Kieran.
Yeah, and that's for not just him, but for also Regan Mitchell, the SimSport Racing duo, not having a good first race. There's still another 7 to go. And effectively, the pit stop window, for the first time this season, is now officially closed. It's a 20-minute sprint down towards the first checkered flag of the season. Kieran Vidago, that front valance and bumper on the number 4, a little bit scarred and a bit worse for wear. However, he's trying to bring the car home. And effectively, from this point onwards, Charlie Crossland will probably, he'll want the win, but to be 4.3 seconds behind Dean Riley, who did the masterful of undercuts, did the strategy call, like you said, and he wants to get off with a bang. But the biggest caveat is that Dean Riley going into Monza will have the biggest amount of success ballast going into the second round of the championship in 4 weeks' time. But he's going to play the long game, because he might say, well, Monza's going to be a duff round. I'm going to look at round 3 to come firing back. And we've seen that before. David Simon's now got the 64 Team Fordzilla car now repaired and up to full strength. So he's going to push like crazy for the next 18 minutes and 50 seconds. So we'll see how that pans out for him. But at the moment, Riley leads by 4.4 seconds ahead of Crossland. Sean Campbell started 8th, now rounding out the top 3. Then it's Nick Foster, who apparently in the as we mentioned on the preview show, when he put in his information for us here in the commentary box, he said, yeah, world-class Billy was the wording, and that was verbatim right there. I think you laughed at that, David, when I told you.
I don't think you could find anything that sums it up any better than that. World-class Billy, for sure. But yeah, look, it's certainly not disappointed tonight. A lot of the drivers new to Assetto Corsa Competizione, maybe in the different cars for tonight. And look, we always knew that it was going to be a difficult night for some of the teams and some of the drivers. And there's not been anything that I wouldn't have expected to see tonight, and we've had plenty of action, we've had plenty of drama, plenty of chaos, and some really, really good racing. Let's not forget there's been some cracking action, and look, no matter where you are on the track, you've always got somebody to fight with, and that is one of the most important things on these hour-long races. The fact that you've still got battles going on for position this far into it is just awesome to see. But I think Dean Riley was a little bit hamstrung by some of the traffic that he was making his way, but yeah, I think he's past it now. Gaps opened up over 5 seconds, and this is looking very, very good for him.
Yeah, so we are on lap number 25 of this race. There's Charlie Crossland, 5.4 seconds behind in second position. Then it's Campbell, Foster, French, Dendy, Trundley, Smith, Lane and Pinchbeck. Alvarez has recovered up to 11th position. That's still going to net him some points. The driver from Germany, as Crossland makes his way out of Ingwe and goes across the line, and he's starting to close the gap a little bit, as Charlie Crossland, in some respects. I mean, the last lap would have not been as quick as the previous tour, but Will Dendy trying to close in on Stuart Ross French. Dendy put in a 1:42.1. Stuart Ross French a 1:42.408. Right, David, I'm going to throw something at you here. You know, I said that Dean Riley went and set the fastest lap of the race on a 1:41.070.
Yep.
Well, less than 2 minutes later, he went into the 140s, a 1:40.920, and that's in race trim. Oh, that driver is already making a statement that he wants to draw first blood here in Kyalami, rub the salt off the wounds after Monza, and then come firing back at round 3. We're going to have a look at a replay here.
Yeah, so this is the number 64. I think this is obviously David Simon side by side with the 43, and having a look at Ben Brown. Oh, that's unfortunate to see that. He's just a little bit of a push to pass there for the Cam Sport Fire driver, and that is why he got the penalty that he did. And yeah, like that's a bit naughty. Give it quite a clear nudge there, and not giving that position back. Just to really reiterate the pace that Dean Riley has got right now, while he was passing the 4 of Kieran Vidago, putting him another lap down, he was still faster than Charlie Crossland in that car behind, as we see Regan Mitchell here. So, I mean, incredible pace from Dean Riley. But, you know, Regan Mitchell, let's give a little shout to him, Alex, because, I mean, that first lap disaster, and he's already looking to get himself back in the top 20.
Yeah, and the person he's got, well, he is in 20th position. He's trying to get past the now refreshed and revitalised bodywork of the Mercedes of David Simon. He's looking to go, now that's going into Loicop. He's probably going to get the cutback. Look, he's already tighter on the apex. Through into turn 11. Oh, 2 wheels on the grass. Oh, and he keeps the foot stuck in, does Regan Mitchell. That is absolutely, there's some big stones right there for the number 69 as they come through Mineshaft and then heading into the Crocodiles. But Regan Mitchell, I thought he was going to try and do the old switchback, and he tried to make it work, but David Simon did not give him enough room to allow it to be facilitated. Through into Cheetah before they head down towards Ingwe. But Regan Mitchell, I've commentated on him on many a league on the Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. Always entertaining. I think when I commentated on another championship where it's GT4s, he was the only driver that decided to get himself into the Maserati GT4 car on this platform. which has no ABS, no traction control, and I think that's made him a better driver because of it.
Yeah, it's quite often the case when you see drivers picking those cars that are almost lepers of their chosen class because they don't have all the mod cons, they don't have, you know, those leather seats and those heated windows and all that sort of nonsense. Look, it makes it for a more interesting experience. Are you kidding me? Did that actually just happen?
You cannot be serious.
Did he actually just do that, just like he was standing still right the outside? That is ridiculous. And David Simon gets a 10-second penalty for good measure, penalty for car 64, 10 seconds for causing a car collision with car 43. I did not give the position back. Like, I'll be honest with you, I personal opinion as a commentator, I don't agree with that penalty at all. I think that the 43 of Pinchbeck should have known that he was on the inside of that. It wasn't like David Simon. And there's the 13th place of Kim Vidago again, right in the middle of the track. I'm not a huge fan of that. Oh my goodness me! Oh, huge contact with the Aston Martin, and you hate to see it again. The Aston Martin just dumped in the middle of the track there. I've got to be honest, I think Vidago is going to get the book thrown at him for that. To
be honest with you, I think that was either a software or a hardware issue, because that car was not moving. That car was not moving at all. So it may not have been under his control, and all of a sudden, Tyler in the 445, I mean, Wilson did good to avoid, but Tyler just literally had absolutely nowhere to go. Michael Tyler from eTeam BRIT Aston Martin. That has really, and that was a really good strong race. I mean, Tyler was on course for points. That's given that opportunity to Ballesteros. We had so we've got just over 11.5 minutes, but I think that's nothing of Kieran Vidago's making. That was just a complete failure, whether it's hardware or software. It is not nice seeing that, and I feel more than anything, not just for Kieran Vidago, but for Michael Tyler for coming into it, and he was going flat chat, and that's the problem when you're behind somebody that you're actually battling with, and they make a sudden move to the left or the right, then you've got nowhere to go, and all of a sudden you're the one that's caught up in the crossfire.
Yeah, that is horrible to see, and I would have hated to see on board from that car that went straight into them there. Just a really difficult instant to see. As we see behind, who's that? That's Burton in the number 95, going very, very wide there at the exit, the corner for the Vario Corsa. But look, it's an awful accident to see. Thankfully, it's not real life, and thankfully, the worst case scenario is that the drivers just alt F4 out of the sim and can go and get a cup of coffee and calm themselves down. But have a look at Sandro Ballesteros here. This battle has been raging on for the past 30 minutes between him and Chris Wilson, despite their pit stops, despite all of that earlier aggro. They're still absolutely going for it right now. Looking further up the order as well, Sean Campbell under some real pressure from Nick Foster and Stuart Ross French and Will Dendy up there as well. So 5 seconds, 6 seconds splitting about 4 cars there. But this is a cracking little battle here, Alex, isn't it?
Yeah. Just over 50 minutes completed. We're into the last 9 3/4 minutes of the opening round of the third season of eTeam BRIT GT Challenge here at Kyalami for round 1 of the season, and Sandro Ballesteros trying to look to the right, trying to look to the left, looking every which way possible to get past Chris Wilson, but Wilson is not letting the youngster based out of Rochdale to have a chance to get past. But Ballesteros is looking up the inside through into Crowthorns this time. They're going to head to the Jux K sweep. Will Ballesteros shut the door? There's enough room for Chris Wilson to get through. He's going to squeeze, but this time Ballesteros keeps it pinned, and into the right-hander here in Barbecue, neatly taken on the apex by the number 19 from eTeam BRIT Aston Martin, and he gets past Chris Wilson, but Wilson's going to come back at him going through Sunset, and then they've got the next left-hander here at Clubhouse. But that was a brilliantly timed move. Great racing respect. Room was given to actually battle door panel to door panel between these two. And Sandro Ballesteros, after over 20 or so minutes of trying, finally gets past the number 68 of Cam Sport Fire's Chris Wilson.
Fantastic move. It's been coming for ages, and thankfully Sandro Ballesteros gets the move done nice and cleanly. What Chris Wilson has to do now is try and keep in the toe of Ballesteros, try and keep the pressure on him and force Ballesteros into a mistake. Sandro, obviously a very young driver, very talented and very strong at what he's able to do, but it's not over yet. 8 minutes left to do, and again the McLaren has a lot of pace in it, but I'll be honest, Sandro Ballesteros making it look like that was just inevitable with the amount of pressure that he was putting on Chris Wilson there. So fantastic move, great to see, but we wait with bated breath to see what is going to happen in these final 8 minutes. Just looking towards the leaders there, Dean Riley in the lead of Charlie Crossland by nearly 10 seconds now, so that battle looks like that is already in the bag, and Charlie Crossland now into the 143s while Dean Riley's still into the 142s, and really taking control of this. But I think Nick Foster looking like he could try and take that last step of the podium, as we see Will Dendy on the back of Stuart Ross French. You can see just up in front Sean Campbell and Nick Foster, just 3 seconds between the two of them. 7 minutes left to go, Alex. This is bubbling over nicely for one heck of a finish.
Now, obviously we mentioned that there is a teams and a drivers and a teams championship, and provisionally speaking at the moment Zancho Simsport, I believe, will be leading the championship because Foster's partnered with Dendy, so they're 4th and 6th respectively. But it could be tight between them and Simsport Solutions, because look, Rich Smith has made his way up into 8th position. We've got just under 6.5 minutes to go. Stuart Ross French is in 5th, battling away with Will Dendy. Stuart Ross French's teammate Tim Lane is, well, look at the... Hang on a second. I've just seen the gap between Tim Lane and Dominic Alvarez. Alvarez has been like an absolute animal. He's really ripped with his claws and teeth through the gap. The gap at one point was 11.4 seconds. With less than 6 minutes to go, Alvarez is 2.7 seconds adrift. Alvarez could bring it into the top 10 by the checkered flag if he's pushing like he is. And looking at Alvarez's times, I think Tim Lane, look, he's taking chunks of time out of him. Daniel Hyde's off at Crowthorns there on the inside, not having a good time behind the wheel of the Lamborghini, I'm afraid to say, but Alvarez on the completion of lap 30, 142.4. Tim Lane, a 143.9. Are you absolutely kidding me? That is 1.5 seconds. And now the gap is going down considerably, because Lane now is 0.9 behind Chris Pinchbeck. Oh, Alvarez has had a disconnect. Alvarez was pushing that crazy. Oh my goodness me.
He's cooked his router. That's what's happened there. He's been going so fast.
He's cooked the GPU as well, possibly. Maybe that's had a bit of a thermal incident there. You never know. It's a real shame. But that could have been a real good possibility. Looks like Max Spooner's kicking up dust again. He needs to stop rally crossing that Lexus. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. But Will Dendy trying to keep in. And you can now see the back markers are going to start playing an issue. With 4.5 minutes to go, Nick Foster trying to get past, I think, Chris Wilson. Or, no, not Chris Wilson. That might be Ben Brown. I'm not too sure. But you can just see here.
No, that's Stuart Ross French. That he's just tried to make a move up there. Did Will Dendy there. But Stuart Ross French took that place back immediately. This battle for 5th and 6th place, Alex, with 4 minutes left to go. I mean, you could think that this is the last lap of the race right here.
Oh, they've got an eTeam BRIT McLaren. Oh, and that was James Hall. Will Dendy decides to use the slipstream from the McLaren to get right at the back bumper. Here he goes Dendy in the 128 from Zancho Simsport up through Crowthorns. Now up the hill through to the Jux K sweep. Goes both him and Stuart Ross French again, swapping positions. like it's going out of fashion. That's P5 now for Will Dendy. And looking at where he started earlier, he was in the top 6. So Dendy now with about 3.5 minutes to go. Just looking at where the leaders are at the minute, Dean Riley just coming through what will be the Crocodiles. So we might have another couple of laps to go after this. So 3 minutes 20 still remaining. Riley leads by 11.9 seconds out of Charlie Crossland. Sean Campbell from 8th. Assetto Corsa coming in with a bang with their Lamborghinis. And Campbell really putting the cat amongst the proverbial pigeons. There's Nick Foster, who is not that far behind. Number 13, an Australian based out of London. A man who refers to himself as the world-class Billy. I'm going to say that again. Well, I have said that again. I've said that twice now in the broadcast, and also I've said that in the preview show. But Nick Foster has got one of the Aston Martins from eTeam BRIT AMR up ahead. But you look at where Sean Campbell is. Sean Campbell isn't that far ahead of Nick Foster, and Foster sends it up the inside of the eTeam BRIT Aston Martin through Ingwe, and now he's got his crosshairs hooked on to the back bumper of that Lamborghini with 2 minutes and 27 to go. And I think we'll have this plus an additional lap to see out round number 1 of the season.
Yeah, this is a cracking performance from Nick Foster. He is absolutely blazing to try and take that position from the Lamborghini of Sean Campbell right now. A brilliant effort, but the Assetto Corsa driver really has to look in his mirrors right now, because Foster is charging so hard right now. And I'm also looking at at Stuart Ross French, who's just 0.6 of a second behind Will Dendy. That gap is starting to eke out a little bit, but Ross French not dropping back as fast as I thought he would do from Will Dendy. So I wonder if Will Dendy's maybe made a little bit of a mistake. But again, Nick Foster not quite closing as fast as I thought he would on Sean Campbell, given that he's in that clear air right now. 1.5 minutes to go. He needs to absolutely be throwing caution to the wind right now to get anything done here.
Right, leader has now gone on to the 35th and final lap. SimSport Solutions' very own Dean Riley. There's a bit of a flash there from Nick Foster at Sean Campbell saying, "Hello mate, I can see you." But Riley now making his way through into turn 5 at Barbecue before the run down to Sunset. Charlie Crossland making his way through the Jux K sweep, whereas our third place driver, we've also had another penalty just come through, which was a penalty for car number 2, Daniel Hyde, causing a collision with the number 95 of Nathan Burton, and did not give back the position. But we are waiting now, probably in just about, I'd say, 50 seconds time. There is our leader coming through the S's. Dean Riley played the undercut card to perfection on Charlie Crossland, came out of the pits with a 3.5 second advantage. He has not only pulled away, he's also gathered up the fastest lap of this race, and with 16 seconds he heads through into the mine shaft for the final time of this race. And this is where the journey really starts. There's been a lot of bubbling under the skin, so to speak. The anticipation, the wait, I think Dan Hyde said earlier on today, the wait has been absolutely like forever. But out of the final corner, SimSport Solutions, Dean Riley takes the opening race of the season here at Kyalami, and it is by a considerable margin. So Charlie Crossland started on pole position, has had to settle for second best as he takes second place, 13.6 seconds. But Assetto Corsa, the sister team for Cadan Casual Apex, from 8th on the grid, Lamborghini represented in this championship for the very first time on the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge, and Sean Campbell started 8th, rounds out the rostrum in the 88. Tim Lane 10th, ahead of Ben Brown. Nick Foster was within 1.5 seconds at the end of it. Will Dendy holds on to 5th ahead of Stuart Ross French, and Stuart Ross French flashing the fog light saying, "Nice battle, mate, well done." as Bobby Trundley, as always, brings the fire and brimstone, and he takes 7th ahead of the recovering Rich Smith. That's a great job from him. Chris Pinchbeck very shortly will come down through the mine shaft. There he is in the number 43. And Ben Brown will stay in 11th position despite the additional 10 seconds added on to his race time. And I think it will be the case for David Simon and Daniel Hyde. Sandro Ballesteros 12th, Chris Wilson 13th, Max Spooner in 14th, Regan Mitchell recovers to finish in 15th, Brockies 18th, Burton and Hall, they round out 18th to 20th, Michael Tyler rounds out the top 16, David Simon in 17th, but Chris Pinchbeck comes out of the final corner and takes 9th despite having his own dramas. Daniel Hyde will come out of the final corner and finish in 21st, but we have our first top 3 of the season. Dean Riley not only wins a bottle of Copperfield Dry London Gin, but courtesy of our partners at IMB Racewear, he will win a pair of race gloves from IMB Racewear embroidered with the eTeam BRIT livery. So congratulations to him. It kickstarts his run towards the title, but don't count out Charlie Crossland and Sean Campbell. I'm really, really happy about this. It's so nice to see a Lamborghini in the top 3, wouldn't you agree, David?
It's absolutely fantastic, and if I'm right in saying it's Davario Corsa's first team podium as well, so a monumental achievement for them. And make no mistake, that was all about that turn 1 bravery to get that car pitched in against all the carnage and chaos that was kicking off there. A spirited drive, a wonderful drive, and if anything, that is a drive that sums up the racing here at eTeam BRIT.
Indeed, and that really sets us off on a journey. We are waiting to see if we will have our drivers coming in for our post-race interviews, but the top 15, which was rounded out by Regan Mitchell, he gets a point after all that drama. What could have been. So the finishing order provisionally will be as follows. Dean Riley takes the win by 13.8 seconds ahead of Charlie Crossland. Sean Campbell rounds out the podium. Also Nick Foster 4th ahead of Will Dendy. Then it's Stuart Ross French, Bobby Trundley, Rich Smith, Chris Pinchbeck, Tim Lane, Ben Brown, Sandro Ballesteros, Chris Wilson, Max Spooner and Regan Mitchell rounds out the top 15 positions. And those drivers provisionally at this moment in time score points. And with it, David, comes success ballast. Monza in 4 weeks' time is going to be rather interesting. But without further ado, let's bring in our season opener race winner. Let's bring in SimSport Solutions, Dean Riley, shall we? Fucking now. This is so Dean Riley, firstly, mate, congratulations. That was one hell of an undercut. You put Charlie under pressure, let's be completely honest, for the first half of the race, but you timed the undercut. You got a 3.5 second advantage, and not only that, your pace in clean air was pretty damn impressive. I mean, you put in a 1 minute 40.920, so not only do you win a bottle of Copperfield London Dry Gin, but you also wear a pair of eTeam BRIT racing gloves, courtesy of our partners at IMB Racewear. How are you feeling?
I'm over the moon. Yeah, I knew the undercut was really powerful. I knew I was stuck behind Charlie a bit. I had a little bit more pace, but it was impossible to overtake. And really, following close was difficult to see, so I had to drop the gap a little bit so I could just see and cruise around and then time the undercut to perfection. I was trying to look at the track map to see if I could get out in clean air, and that was the most important thing, not to get stuck behind someone after I come out of the pits. And luckily enough, my quick glance at the map seemed to work.
Yeah, I mean, now the next question I'm going to ask, it's going to be an interesting one to ask you anyway, because ballast comes into play for Monza on the 23rd of August. and I'm going to, I want you to be completely upfront and honest with me and say, if you don't know, you don't know. But how do you think the Aston's going to react to 75 kilos at Monza, which is a very power-hungry circuit?
It's going to kill the chances for a top 3, to be completely honest. It'd be some miracle if we got a top 3. To be honest, they're probably looking anywhere in the top 10. With the ballast, it's really going to be it's a big weight to carry. It's like carrying over a full tank of fuel, and then down the straights at Monza, going to get eaten alive by a lot of the cars. So, yeah, it's going to be near impossible to me. Just a matter of trying to get as many points as I can and get out of trouble, and hopefully get a better result by just staying out of trouble. So, yeah.
Well, Dean, congratulations for winning the season opener here at Kyalami for Season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. I'm sure that you're going to enjoy a nice, cool, refreshing drink after quite a lot of time in the sim and obviously perspiring. And also, it was a real pleasure to finally put face to name at Alton Park this past weekend, mate. Well done tonight.
Cheers, Alex. Nice to meet you, mate.
So there we go. Dean Riley, our season opener, round 1 winner here on Season 3. So, David, I'm going to hand over to you to have a chat with our runner-up, Mr. Charlie Crossland from Team Fordzilla.
Thank you very much. We'll drag Charlie in as soon as we possibly can, and a fantastic effort. But Charlie, you join us, a brilliant second place. It could have been so different, but Dean seemed to have the strategy upper hand today.
Yeah, when I went into the pits, there was cars all over the pit lane. I couldn't really see where I was stopping, so I was waiting like 4 seconds for the car to get lifted up.
I can hear the disappointment in your voice, but I mean it was an epic first race there, and you had a heck of a lot of pace in that Mercedes today.
Yeah, it's the worst track for the Mercedes on the calendar, so P2 isn't too bad.
And then obviously looking forward to that second round, you're going to have the upper hand, having slightly less ballast than the Aston Martin. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, the mutt's pretty quick there, and 60 kg is a lot, but I reckon I can still get in points with it. Get the deficit back from this race.
And obviously, I mean, we know, we can hear that you're frustrated with how tonight went. Is there anything else that could have happened from tonight for you to take that win?
No, not really. I was maxing out the car, and that was really it. Just that one little mistake in the pits cost me, because I couldn't get in front of him and defend like I did in the first half.
Well, commiserations. It could have been so different, but we're looking forward to seeing you bounce back on the next round, Charlie.
Thank you.
Alex, I've got a feeling that it's going to be a slightly different tone from Sean Campbell.
Oh, well, without further ado, and I'm sure that Phil Webb has been pinging his Discord DMs like no tomorrow. Let's bring the man in. From 8th on the grid, Divario Corsa's Sean Campbell brings a Lamborghini home to 3rd on the rostrum. So we'll just wait for him to jump on him. But what a race from him. Really, really good to see. Sean Campbell, firstly, well done. Divario Corsa's first ever podium. I bet Phil Webb has been messaging you like a madman right about now.
Yeah, he congratulated me, and it was a good race. I thought I was going to get caught up at the end by 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Foster was closing in. He got to within a second and a half. I mean, how is the Lamborghini feeling going around Kyalami?
It felt good. It was stable through the high-speed stuff, but it turned good enough to where you were able to push it.
So, next up, 23rd of August, we head to Monza. Now, we know that Lamborghini and Ferrari are loved in that country. How do you fancy your chances next time out?
I mean, to be honest, I don't know if I'll be here because I was a reserve driver this time. But if I were to answer, I feel like the Ferrari will do pretty good. I feel like it's been stable over the curbs in other sims. But the Lambo, I feel like it will have a fair bit of top speed, hopefully.
Well, Sean, congratulations on a 3rd place. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again. If it's not at Monza, if they ever need a reserve, I'm sure that Phil will be getting in touch with you directly to fill somebody's racing seat, and I'm sure that you'll give us something to talk about like you did tonight. Well done.
All right, thanks.
So, big thank you to Sean Campbell. I think we've got time for one more interview. I think we'll both go on the offensive with this one. I think we've got eTeam Vassaro's Max Spooner coming in. Max, good evening, first of all.
Welcome back, gentlemen. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, 143 days to be precise.
Oh, blimey, that long, was it?
Well, I think, Dan Hyde was saying it feels like it's been an eternity, but it is good to be back. Firstly, for those that aren't already aware, Max is also the championship coordinator, along with competing in this championship. I don't know how you do it, but you did have quite a few off-track excursions in the Lexus. Martin Buchan was critical of his own setup choice, I think, referenced you, and you decided to go on a different tangent. Firstly,
that was his setup. That was
his. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got the virtual saucepan ready and waiting to sort of hit him across the temple, have you?
Absolutely.
But obviously, there's been a lot of hard work behind the scenes. I think it was an inspired choice to, through the Team BRIT Summer Series before the GT Challenge came about. We used ACC. We've come back to that platform. We've got more people wanting to enter the championship for round 2 onwards. I think it was an inspired choice to come back to this platform because it's provided us with a format that we know very, very well, but also one that people can race at. And we saw some great battles this evening, didn't we?
And my God, does it look sexy. I mean, our Factor 2...
Oh dear, man moment, David. Man moment in the house. Clean up on aisle 3.
No, but yeah, I think, making the switch back to ACC, I think the benefits were it's plug and play. We just load up the liveries and away we go. The R Factor 2 platform is a very, very good platform, but I think for the other competitors, this was certainly the way to go. And I think having had the first race and seeing how it's played out, I think we've been justified in that decision.
Now, firstly, the next question I need to ask: how come Martin Buchan wasn't on the grid tonight? I want to know the official excuse from eTeam Vassaro, please.
Well, I'll tell you when I know. But I think he had a prior engagement, something to do with a stick and a ball.
Yeah, apparently where you shout, if you hit it wrong, you shout 4.
Yeah, so I think, mucking around with his golf bats this evening, and then I think knowing that we all have a drop round, he can come into round 2, as can other drivers, and still go for the championship. But it's quite reassuring to know that we've got 2 cars that are relatively competitive. I think I made up 9 places off my starting place, and
23rd to 14th there. So, but Max, if people want to enter the championship for round 2, which is the 23rd of August, 4 weeks' time at Monza, how do they go about doing it?
So they can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They can message us there. They can also email us at eteambrit@teambrit.co.uk, and then I myself will reach out to them and we'll get the entry form sent out. Pay your entry fee, and away we go.
Brilliant. Max Spooner from eTeam Vassaro, also the team manager of eTeam BRIT. Thank you, Max. We'll see you in a month's time at Monza. Well done tonight.
Can't wait. Cheers, guys.
So really, David, really good to hear from our top 3 and also to hear from Max.
Yeah,
well, we thought it was going to be back with a bang. No, it was a mushroom cloud that hit Kyalami, and we were entertained royally, weren't we?
Oh, we absolutely were entertained. An amazing top 3. It's always great to hear back from Max. Obviously, you could see him suffering with a little bit of oversteer in that Lexus. Inspired choice for them. It did them very, very well. He seemed to enjoy it. And my goodness me, were we entertained as commentators tonight. So much to see and talk about over the course of the evening. Sets themselves up for a fantastic second round next month. And cannot wait.
Well, that's it from us here on round 1 of season 3 of the eTeam BRIT GT Challenge. We leave the Gauteng province here in South Africa and we head to Autodromo Nazionale di Monza in just 4 weeks' time for the 23rd of August. Dean Riley does the undercut business on Charlie Crossland to secure the victory in the opening round of season 3. But wait until we head to the Temple of Speed in Italy, because the fireworks are only just getting started. A big thank you to Sim Sports Solutions for their broadcasting as always, and a big thank you to all the relevant partners that have been able to help back this championship. A big thank you to you all for watching tonight. Myself and David will see you in just 4 weeks' time as we go avanti in Italy. Good night. See you very soon.